Hi guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers. Hey, we've been super busy lately playing with our clients. That's what we're doing. There is some seriousness involved, but we are playing with our clients because we always have fun no matter what. So that said, I do want to talk to you a little bit about some things that have kind of, crept into my consciousness lately, especially with with some of the clients we've dealt with in the past. I always like to stay in communication with them to find out how things are going, how things went and that kind of thing, and what they think now. And it's really interesting because several people that I've talked to lately talk about the, oh my God, what have I done moment. And it seems to be pretty ubiquitous with people who buy a house over here. And it's very interesting. For one of them, he told us a few days ago, he was walking in the rain to the restaurant. The renovations were ongoing, so he didn't have a kitchen, and the rain was coming in sideways. And he's walking in it trying to get some food, and he's like, oh my God, what have I done? And that I can understand, that I can really understand. And then, of course, you sign the papers. It's a lot of money going out. Oh my God, what have I done? Or you come in, once they gut your house for the renovation, like they gut it down to the studs, really. Oh my God, what have I done? So it's something that happens. But I wanted to tell you, first of all, the best way to minimize this particular stressful situation is to make sure you're fully prepared when you sign on the dotted line, when you do something like that. So the first thing I want to say, and this is a conversation I've had with several of our clients, is don't do anything until your residency is ironed out. Now, a lot of people want to come over, they want to just buy something, sell their houses in the US and just move. And I love that. I love that spirit. I love that pioneer spirit. But at the same time, nothing is ever really guaranteed. So selling your house and putting all your eggs into the Italian property basket without your residency can be very, very risky, because residency is never a slam dunk. You might think it will be, but it's, I can say it's not a guarantee, like, ever. Of course, certain cases are pretty much, almost guaranteed, but nothing's ever really guaranteed. And I've found that out through my dealings here in Italy with the bureaucracy and with the various steps and things that you have to take, that you can't really count on guarantees for things like that. Now, in addition, understand, what your renovations are going to cost, understand what's involved. Now, a lot of people come over and they go, well, I'll just live in this part of the house while they're renovating that part. I've never seen that work. We've tried it. It is not a functional way. They expect you to get all your stuff out, renovate the whole thing, and then you move back in. And I can understand why, because they don't want to be moving furniture. You can get somebody to move your furniture for you, but they don't want to move your furniture and then put it back in, unless they charge you to do that. And that's something you might want to talk to them about as well. But don't expect to live in your house while it's being renovated, unless you have a completely separate guest quarters or something like that. There's always exceptions to what I'm telling you here, but buying an apartment and living in the bedroom and just using the kitchen as a camp kitchen or whatever, that is just not going to fly. And I can tell you from real close experience how that's not going to fly. We've tried that many times. So, and then there's all the other things that you want to look at. You want to come over and make sure you're really comfortable in the community that you're going to be in, and that you always have a plan B. I mean, so many times we're dealing with people a lot of the times that are, in retirement, and they can come over here and they can retire and they, can live. You have to look 10 years, 20 years in the future. If you buy a house that's out in the country, if something happens to you, what's the situation? Do you have a plan for that? Or if you buy a house with a whole lot of stairs and you suddenly develop mobility issues, what's going to happen with that? You can't just live on the first floor a lot of times. And you can't expect to sell your property as quickly as you do, say, in California. California's quick turnover, a few days, your property's gone. It's not that way here. Properties can sit on the market for years, even when they're priced appropriately, until the right person comes along. So make sure that you've looked at all these things. You make sure your residency is all set up. You make sure that you love the community enough to live there, and you've lived there long enough to know, like, rent or get a B&B for several weeks or months or whatever, and really experience what life is like there. What can look like a charming, beautiful existence can become a nightmare when you realize that you have to get an Italian driver's license and you don't speak Italian. That's another thing. There's a whole bunch of things that you really, really need to kind of get your head around before you actually dive in and make the purchase. Now, if you're buying a vacation home, great, buy a vacation home. That's easy. But if you're buying a house and you're going to move here, make sure you think of all the ins and outs, all the goods and bads, and make a really, really, truly informed decision. And that will help you and maybe even eliminate your, oh my God, what have I done moment. Thanks, guys. See you soon.